time first, and the title is Our Resurrection. We talk about the resurrection of Jesus a lot in the church. Do you guys know which Sunday we celebrate the resurrection of Jesus? Easter Sunday, right? But did you also know that the resurrection is not only about Jesus, but we will be resurrected also? Even though resurrection is a little difficult thing to understand because it doesn't happen all that occasionally in this world. But actually, if you think about it, our God has given us hints and snippets of what resurrection is going to be like. And he has given us some pictures and images and stories of resurrection so we can understand our resurrection. Do you guys know how a plant or a seed grows, like how it all starts from? It starts from a seed. A seed is planted, and a plant and eventually a tree grows. When you look at a seed, it is a little hard to imagine that from the little seed, it has the potential and the possibilities of a great tree and a great plant and the fruit. It's almost like in this little thing, God has hidden all the potentials and all the possibilities of life. You know, when you look at a seed, do you feel like it's a living thing? Not really. Like, I don't really consider seed, exactly a living thing. But from what seems to be a dead thing, life arises from it. And I think that's pretty amazing. I want us to think about sleeping. Who likes to sleep? I love sleeping, by the way. During the day, you spend all of your energy, you're awake, and you become really, really tired. What happens in your body is that all the toxins are floating around, and what happens when you sleep? You become refreshed, you become renewed. And when you wake up from a sleep, it's almost like a new day is beginning, as if there's new life that is allowed to us every day. Wow, and I think that might be a sign and a little hint of resurrection that God has placed in our lives. I want us to think about, sometimes when we get hurt, sometimes when we get sick, and how do you get better? How do you get better? Your body knows how to heal itself, right? Of course, sometimes we take the medicine, and of course, sometimes we go to the hospital, but our God has placed the ability within our bodies to heal, right? And when we do surgery, when we're taking medicine, we're only helping the system that is already existing, placed by God in our bodies, so our body actually knows how to heal itself, as if, going from dead and from dead to being alive again. And now we're going to talk about a little story in the Bible about a resurrection, not the resurrection of Jesus, but the resurrection of our bodies. You probably have heard of a man in the Bible called the Lazarus. I want you guys to repeat after me, Lazarus. Lazarus had two sisters. Do you know who they are? They're pretty famous people in the Bible. Do you know the names of the sisters? Starts with M. Mary and Martha, right? And the family was very, very close to Jesus. And Lazarus had become ill, and the sisters were very, very concerned, and they sent a person to Jesus, letting Jesus know that Lazarus is gravely ill, and they wanted Jesus to come so Jesus can heal Lazarus. But guess what Jesus does? He does something that is very, uncommon. He takes his time. He doesn't go there immediately. He takes his time, and when he had heard that Lazarus had fallen asleep, which is another expression for Lazarus being dead, then he makes his way into the house of Lazarus, Mary, and Martha. So by the time Jesus got to the house, Lazarus had already passed away. And guess how many days it passed since the death of Lazarus? 4 days. When somebody has died, and when 4 days have passed since the death, you can be sure that that person is really, really dead, right? And Lazarus was really, really dead, and people even put him inside the grave. And Jesus goes to the tomb where Lazarus had been laid. He prayed a prayer to God. Then he tells Lazarus to walk out. And Lazarus walks out, and people were amazed by it. This story is about, is telling us about what we are going to go through, our resurrection. And Jesus really wanted to demonstrate the point that, hey, you eventually will be made alive again. And what I am showing you is a picture of what is about to happen. Let's read John 11, verses 25 and 26 together. 1, 2, 3. Jesus said to her, I am the resurrection and the life. The one who believes in me will live, even though they die. And whoever lives by believing in me will never die. Do you believe this? As Jesus is doing this miracle, this is what Jesus told the sisters. I am the resurrection and the life. The one who believes in me will live, even though they die. So Lazarus here died, right? And Jesus is saying, hey, people die. We eventually all die, right? But the one who believes in me will live. And whoever lives by believing in me will never die. Do you believe this? And what a striking picture, right? Jesus showed that example, and Jesus is giving them this teaching, and Jesus is looking right into their eyes and saying, do you believe this? And Jesus is almost asking us, do you believe our bodily resurrection? Our Bible is telling us this story. Let me make a prophecy about all of us. We will all eventually die. And then what happens after? Have you guys ever thought about what happens after we die? For some people, it's a topic of fear and terror because some people don't really know what life brings after death. But here, Jesus is telling us a clear message. Those who believe in me will actually never die. They will be resurrected, and death is an entrance to this new life, this true life that God has in store for us. But we have to be ready for that moment. Jesus was asking the sisters, do you believe this? Are you ready for that moment? Guys and girls, do you believe this? And are you guys ready for the moment? Do you know what faith is all about? Faith is being ready for that moment. Do you believe this? And are you ready for this? And my advice to you is that you better be ready for that moment. Do not lose your faith. You will need strong faith on that day. So we're living our daily lives to build that strong faith so that you will be ready when the moment of resurrection comes. That is the story that Jesus wanted to tell Mary, Martha, Lazarus, all the people who are watching, and all the people down the generations who are hearing this story just as we are hearing this story. Can you guys be ready for the moment? Will you be ready for the moment? And I hope your answer is yes. Let us pray.